I'm Tom Daley, and today we are all taking part in the Happy Place Virtual Festival, and it's a lovely day here in London, so I thought I'd come and do an outside workout. But you can do this yoga workout anywhere. Now, yoga to me is all about pairing movement with breath, and it can be quite a relaxing experience, but also it can be quite an intense workout sometimes. So what I'd like to do now is combine some of the classic yoga movements and some of the classic stretches that you do with those yoga movements, but also make it so that we're going to build up a little bit of a sweat, but it's going to feel good. And right after this, we are going to be feeling nice and calm, and hopefully we'll be in your happy place. So to start off with, we're going to do a few sun salutations, and we're just going to breathe in, feel the energy coming through your feet all the way up you, and we're going to breathe in, hands up to the sky, looking up, slight back bend, slight arch, just like this. And then we are going to forward fold, down, hands on the floor. If your hands don't quite get to the floor, don't worry, this is just an initial warm up, something that's just going to feel good to you. If you need to bend your legs, feel free to do so. This workout is all about adapting it to make it feel good to you. We're not pushing ourselves to some kind of limit. We don't want to overstretch. You want to feel good. You want to feel a little bit of a stretch in the backs of your legs. You can grab onto your elbows and just swing side to side. Do what feels good. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in your lower back. You might just feel it in your hamstrings. It might be nervy in the backs of your legs. Notice how it feels. And just breathe into those areas that feel a little bit tight. Don't try and force anything. Just let gravity do the work. And then we'll do a big deep breath in, rolling up to stand, arms out wide, stretch, reach up to the sky, and once more, down, hold on to those elbows, swing side to side, let your head hang heavy. Notice your breathing in and out. Is it fast? Is it slow? How are you breathing naturally? Are you in through your nose, out through your mouth? What is it that is normal and natural to you? One more time, up to the sky. Breathing in and then exhaling, and a slight back bend. And then breathing in and out all the way down to the ground again, and we're going to step back into high plank. And we are going down into low plank. And then we're going to start off with being on the ground and just a slight scorpion here. Just going to be stretching out. You'll try and feel like you're pulling yourself forward. That way you'll feel an opening through your lower ribs, through the front of your abs. You don't want to feel anything in your back right now. Just retract those shoulder blades and just feel where your body is right now. Notice anything that feels tight, that feels a little bit stiff. Just work through it, side to side if you need to. This first round is all about just feeling your body and noticing where you feel tight, where you feel stiff. Okay, and then we're going to tuck our toes and push back into a downward facing dog. You want to send that bum high into the sky. You want to be buoyant in your shoulders. You don't want to be pushing up and stretching down. You want to be buoyant. Make sure there's space here between your shoulders and your ears. Pushing the heels into the ground. Again, take some pedals movements here, side to side. Wiggle around. Notice where you feel tight, where it feels good. If you want to stretch out one side of your armpit more than the other, just do what feels good. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. Okay. And then we're going to go back into that high plank. We're going to go to low plank, and then we're going to go up into an upward facing dog, or if you want to be back in scorpion again, do that. But if you can feel like you're warm enough to go up into the upward facing dog, great. Make sure you're relaxing those shoulders, they're down. You're pulling your shoulders back, your shoulder blades back together. And then you tuck your toes, and we're back into a downward facing dog. Pedaling them out. Now we're going to flow through that same pattern, but this time pairing it with our breathing. So in your downward dog, you're breathing in, and then you breathe out to high plank. Then breathing in and out and down. Breathing in, up into upward facing dog. And then breathe out and downward facing dog. And we're going to cycle through that at your own pace with your breath. I'm going to do this a few more times. This is where we're going to keep moving for quite some periods of time to build up a little bit of sweat, and then we'll have periods of stretching where we're going to be static for a period of time and letting gravity open you up, not trying to force anything. Let's do one more of those. And then we're going back into our downward facing dog. Now this next one, what we're going to do is we're going to lift up. I'll start with our left leg. We're going to lift it up to the sky. Hold for a few breaths. And then tuck it in your knee to your chest, keeping your foot off the ground. And then we're going to go back up there and hold again for a few breaths. Really feel like you're taking in as much air as possible. And then back into your chest, embracing your core, and then back out again. And then knee to chest again. This time when we go back up, like so, we're going to open the hip out to the side. Feel like you're reaching your left hand away from you, reaching over there. It will give you a nice side stretch. You'll feel a stretch to your psoas, your hips. Everyone will be feeling slightly different, but making sure that you're opposing. Your leg is reaching, or you're feeling like you're reaching through your knee and you're pulling out of your hip, and this hand is reaching away from you. A few more breaths here. And relax down into your downward dog. Okay, and pedal out those feet. And if at any point you feel like you need a bit of a break, tuck your knees down into child's pose. Take a few breaths whenever you need it, and then just come back with me when you are ready. Okay, so we're going from our downward dog. We're going to cycle through again from high plank, breathe in, and then out to low plank. In when we go up, and then out into downward dog. So we're switching on to the other side now, opening those hips, lifting up into the sky, holding for a few breaths, and then into the chest, and up, and a few breaths here, and then into your chest. This will challenge your shoulders, it will challenge your core. But these movements are classic yoga movements, but if you do them where you're holding the poses, you know, it can be a very challenging workout. And into your chest again. And then up. And we're going to open the hip again. Doing exactly the same. We are going to reach our right hand away from us so that we get a nice stretch all the way down through the side, through your obliques. You might feel it through your armpit, through your hips. Reaching as if you're reaching that knee away from you as far as you can. Taking that hip almost out of the socket, you really feel that stretch. And a few more breaths here. And then bring it back down into our downward dog. If you need to take child's pose, take it now, while we're pedaling out downward dog. And then through high plank. And then we're going to cycle through again. Okay, this time we're going to take our left foot up and we're going to bring it through between our left foot between our hands, and we're going to come into this 90 degree position, and we're going to stretch out our hip flexors to start with. because I find that I am always really tight around my hips, which in turn gives me a bit of a bad back. So as long as I keep my hips open and my hamstrings free, which we'll do today, it often relieves my lower back. So making sure that we're focused on trying to open the eye of our hips. So the front part of your hip, you want to try and feel really tall. You don't want to just collapse into it. You want to feel tall, like you're reaching out of your hip. I'm going to be here for a few breaths. And now we're going to tuck our toe, lean forward if you need to, take some pressure off that knee, and we're going to come up into this position where your toes tucked and you're lifting up. You're pushing your front foot, in this case your left foot, you're pushing that forward and down into the ground, and you're pushing your right foot back, and that opposition is what brings you off the ground. And we're going to hold here. Initially it'll feel difficult and straining, and you'll be like, oh, this is really tough, I can't hold this. When actually, just breathe. Breathe out. Next time you breathe in to where it hurts. Feel that breath, that oxygen going to where you need it to go. Now plant that foot back down at a slight 45-degree angle. This front leg stays bent. And we're going to bring our arms up into warrior one, facing forwards. Breathing. You might feel a bit more of a stretch through your hip. Just breathe through it. And then go into warrior two. We're going to bring our left, or the leg that's forward, bring that hand down, and we're going to follow a nice straight line. Look past your fingers. Feel like you're extending in both directions. Your left hand is reaching forward, your right hand is reaching back, and you're pulling yourself as much as you are this way, up and down. You're pulling yourself out wide in every direction. You're being pulled apart. I'm going to hold here for a few breaths. Take a deep breath in, out, and try and go a little deeper. And then we're going to reverse warrior. Lean forward a little bit to get a little deeper, and then reverse it. Bring that right hand down to your knee. If you can only go to here, fine. But just reach down and then reach this hand up to the sky. Again, you're trying to pull in opposition. This hand is going up, this hand is going down. You're feeling the stretch through your hip. You might feel a little burn through your quads. That's all completely normal. Just try and be here, be present, and breathe. And then we're going to cycle our hands down to the ground, shoot our leg back to high plank, and we're going to cycle through, ending up in downward facing dog. If you need to take child pose again, do so now. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So right leg up, bring it between your hands, let your back knee drop down. We're going to come up into that 90-90 position. Just breathe. There's lots of yoga techniques that we do with my diving training, but at the same time we adapt some of them to work to mobilize certain parts of our body that we need to use quite a lot. So breathing in here, making sure again we're trying to reach out this eye. You're not pushing it forward, you're trying to make it as long as possible. You can do that a little bit by pushing your knee or your foot into the ground, your shin down. That can often allow you to get a little bit more space in that hip. Breathing here. Then tuck that toe and come up. Again, you're going to be pushing down and away on each side. That front foot, your right leg is pushing forward, your back leg, your left foot is pushing back, and that opposition is what pushes you up without really any effort. You're just coming up and you just feel like yourself, you're pushing and you're pulling Everything's going in opposite directions, and it's what allows you to be here and be buoyant. You can feel that stretch, you can feel that buoyancy in your movement. A few breaths here. Breathe into where you feel a burn. And then we're going to put that foot flat on the ground. Feel like your whole foot is on the ground. You're not rolling onto one side or the other. Your foot is firmly planted on the ground. And we're going to bring our arms up into Warrior One, trying to square our hips to the front of your mat. And breathe. And be still. Be present. Not thinking about what you have to do after this. You've dedicated yourself to this class, so be here. Breathe in, out, and go a little deeper. Breathing in, out, a little deeper again. And then we're going to open out into Warrior Two. So that front hand, that right hand is reaching forwards. Your left hand, the back hand is reaching backwards. You're opening up and you're looking over that front hand. A few breaths here. On your next breath in, then you're going to breathe out and go a little deeper. Relax those shoulders. Be buoyant. And then reach forward and go into reverse warrior. So that top hand, that right hand is reaching up to the sky, your left hand is reaching down in opposition. You're opening up every part of your body. You don't want to crunch in your upper body, you don't want to crunch your side. You want to be long, open up and out. And be long, spreading out in every single direction. And then we're going to spin down, hands to the ground, back into that high plank. We're going to cycle through low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Okay, again here is where you can take child's pose if you need a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a breather. Pedal out those legs. Next we're going to do a little bit of hip mobility. So come down onto your bum for, you know, I guess that's what it is, bottom, whatever you would like to call it. So we're going to have a hand on the ground, your heels are digging into the surface that you've got a nice big chest up to the sky, okay? And we're going to dig our heels in, you're going to leave your left knee facing up. And you're going to try to rotate your right knee in, internal rotation, keeping those feet flexed. Go as far as you can go and then switch it to the other side, keeping the right knee faced up and the left knee internally rotating. The feeling like you're pulling, your knee is trying to go forward. Try to go forward, don't just turn it in, try and get it to come out of your hip. And then turn. Don't push it further than your body will let you go. Few of these each side. This for me really helps open my hips, and after I've done this one I really feel like my back loosens up, my hips loosen up, and I'm just able to move a little bit freer. Now we can take this to the next level by, we'll do this on the next round. So the next level is to, when we bring our left knee in, our right knee comes down and we just lean over to where you feel a stretch in your glutes, and keeping that at 90 degrees. Keeping your body up, don't try and hunch over like this. Keep your back flat and just lean over. Some people might be on the floor by now, but if you're not, you're not. You are where your body is right now. Do not try and force yourself into any positions that are not comfortable. Just be here and breathe for a second. And then hand down, switch to the other side. Feet flexed, internal rotation, into that flat position and across. I've noticed already that this side is much tighter for me than the other side. You might notice the same. Which side is tighter? Which side is easier? Do you feel it in your glutes? Is it on the outside of your leg? Where are you feeling this stretch? Keeping those feet active to protect your knees. You should never feel any knee pain in this. If you do, you need to come out of it. but keeping your toes flexed will help avoid that. And then we're going to do this one more on each side, like so. And then switch to the other side. And now we're going to take it to the next level again. We're going to sit with our legs out to the side, and we're very upright. Use your hands to help you be upright. Your legs are out, your back is flat, and we are going to rotate from one side to the other. But this time, think about reaching that left leg away from you and rotating your hip socket as you bend your right leg, and you are going to lean over. Again, only as far as your body will let you. Do not try and overstretch, do not try and push it further than your body will let you right now. And then to get to the other side, straighten that right leg and push it away from you as you're sitting up, and you're trying to push that heel all the way away from you as far as you can. As you rotate in your hip, you bend that left leg and you lean over. We'll do one more on each side, and then we'll pick up the pace a little. So rotating out of that hip, the left leg is pushing away from you as you bend into this one, staying upright. And if you can go further, great. I'm really tight in my hips. If I keep a flat back, I can't go any further than here. I can round, of course, and go down like this. But if you keep your back flat, it's where you feel the most effective stretch. And then push that leg away from you again as you rotate to the other side. Back flat. Lean over as far as you can. Again, don't push it. And now we've done a couple on each side. We'll just try and pick up the pace, so we're continually flowing through that movement. You get to where you can and you switch to the other side, pushing the leg away from you to turn yourself to the other side. We'll just do a few of these on each side. Let's get those hips moving. And then come center. Now, if you can't sit like this, then of course you can be a little bit more leant back to be able to just be in this position. Now, one thing I like to do is stretch out my glutes and my hips in the front. So one way of doing that, there's obviously so many different ways, but a very diving specific way is to, and this may not stretch for some people, I'm going to do it from the side so you can see. So you've got one leg straight out in front of you, and then you bring your left leg in like so, okay? And if you lean forward, for some people this might not stretch, and every person stretches in a different place. It might be in your hamstring that you feel it most, but for me, when I lean forward over my leg like so, I feel it in my glutes, I feel it in my lower back, and I feel it in my hips. And it's a great, I don't necessarily feel it in my hamstrings because I have to spin around in pike shapes like this, so it's something that I don't necessarily feel there, but you might feel it in your hamstring. Making sure that you're not putting any pressure on that knee. If you're feeling pressure in the knee, just take your foot out a little bit further along your leg and just rest here for a moment or two. Use your hands to pull on that foot, or you can use your shin or your knee, wherever you are. If you are only sitting up here, that is absolutely fine. If you're feeling stretched, that is what is meant to be. Feel the stretch that is good for you, not worrying or comparing yourself to anyone else. We're just being here, being present, putting your hands where you can. If you've got a yoga strap, great, you could use a yoga strap. For right now, we're just going to stay here and breathe. Enjoy the stretch, but don't go any deeper than what you feel is good for you. Now we'll switch to the other side, bringing the right knee or the right foot in to roughly where like the middle of your foot is where your knee is. If you can get it in further, great, but for me, right where my foot is in the middle of my knee is where it works for me. That's where I don't feel any pressure on the knee. I just feel the stretch through my back, I feel a bit of a stretch through my hamstring and also through my glute. And also in this position, you can also push down that knee on the outside and it'll give you a little bit more of a stretch through the hips and the glutes. I think stretching is taken for granted quite often. and people don't spend enough time stretching and looking after their bodies. It's all about go, 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 working out, getting strong, getting fast, when actually sometimes you just need to take a step back and breathe and do some good things for your body. Now we're going to be coming up. Again, some people may not be able to do this stretch. So there's two ways to do this. You could just sit cross-legged, but remember which leg you put underneath. Say for example you've got your right leg underneath and your left leg over the top, and you can just lean forwards like so and rest. If that stretches, great. Some people that stretches quite a lot, and I know because I've been there. If you can, if you've got your right leg on the floor, you're going to bring your left leg over the top and cross your legs over. This is another great glute stretch that you can do. And you feel in your hips. Some people will be able to get all the way down, some people are up here, some people can even tuck their feet underneath each other. But just go where you can go. If you're sitting with crossed legs, great. If you're sitting like so, amazing. But just do what's good for you, and don't try and push yourself to a level where it is going to go wrong. You don't want to overstretch, you don't want to hurt anything, so please just be cautious of what your body is needing. Again, if you feel like this is easy, you can keep your back flat and lean forwards slightly. That will intensify the stretch slightly. Just be where you need to be right now. If closing your eyes helps you deal with the stretch, great. Do what's good for you. We're going to switch, slowly unwind those legs. Just switch around which way you had your legs crossed if you want to do it this way, and if you are with me and doing the full crossover, great. Again, you might notice that one side is tighter than the other. Notice that and just breathe into the tight side. Breathe into where you need the extra space. Your breath is very powerful in helping you open up parts of your body. And now we're going to unwind and go into frog stretch. Now some of you may know this, some of you may not. My mat isn't wide enough for me to do it on here, so I am going to show you this way. But what we're going to do is take our legs out wide, or as wide as you can, legs parallel, and we are going to, again, if you feel the stretch here, you can stay here and just hold it, okay? If you want to come down a little bit lower and hold here, great. Just go where you need to go. Don't try and force it too far, because we're going to be holding for an extended period of time to open up those inner thighs. Again, for me, when I open up my inner thighs and I've opened up my hips and I've opened up my glutes, it just frees up space in my lower back so that I don't feel like I'm, you know, stiff and tired in the morning. It just gives you so much more energy, I find. It's a stretch that I do every morning. Same with the other glute stretch and my hamstrings. It's just something that just allows me to wake up and not feel as stiff. You know, I'm getting older now in the diving world, and I have to look after my body in any way that I can. Hence why I've started to take up a little bit more yoga, a little bit more gyrotonics and things like that that are just able to free up space in the body and help energize it slightly. Again, breathing. It will start to ease as the stretch intensifies, or it gets easier. In most occasions it will get easier if you just allow the body to relax. you want to come all the way down onto the ground and rest your head, feel free to do so. I'm going to stay up a little bit. Breathe. Now come all the way back, slowly release out of the stretch. Slowly walk your knees together, like so. Now this is where it might be handy if you have a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you don't need it, it's fine, but it's a stretch that I like to do to, again, open up my hips. And you might not be able to go very far. Some people can just sit straight on the floor and it's no problem whatsoever. So, internally rotate your knees. Knees are touching, your feet are going out. Move your calf muscles out the way if you need to, and hold on to the backs of your heels as you sit down. And sitting down here, again, if you're on a yoga block, great, because it can take some pressure off. I don't have a yoga block with me, so I'm using my upper body strength to just ease into a stretch where I feel it. I'm using the part of my hand that is right on just above my heels to just lower myself down into a stretch. I'm about 4 or 5 inches off of the ground, so it's probably a yoga block height, which would allow me to stretch and just relax completely. If you've got that, great. If you've got a cushion, grab that. But if you don't, just stay with me. And it's going to open up those hips. You might feel it in here. You shouldn't feel anything in your knees. If you feel something in your knees, come up out of it a little bit higher. You don't need to go as far as you feel it in your knees. And breathe. Then we're going to come out of that stretch, leaning forwards, putting your hands on the ground, and we are going to finish off with going from high plank to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and then we're going to step or hop to the front of your mat, come all the way up, hands to the sky, breathe out, slight back bend, breathe in, and then out and down to the ground. Notice if anything feels different when you're in this position now compared to where you were at the beginning of this workout. Swing side to side. Now what I want you to do is come all the way up to standing. Reach your hands to the sky. Breathe in, out, hands down by your side, and relax. Shake it out. Now, my yoga practices may not be completely in line with, you know, being a yoga instructor, because I'm not a yoga instructor, but I take yoga classes and I try and adapt some of the exercises that we do in yoga to help me with my diving stretches. And I hope that it's helped you today. I hope you feel a little bit freer. Notice if your hips feel a little bit freer, if your lower back feels a little less tight than when we started, so that we're actually feeling like we can walk and move freely. I hope you feel energized. I hope teaching about pairing your breath with movement can really help you with anything, whether that is a yoga class, whether that is a workout that you're doing in the gym. Pairing those two together can really, really help you get through a workout. And that has been my little yoga, stretching, kind of bit of everything class for you on the Happy Place Virtual Festival. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all very soon. Stay safe, and lots of love to you and all your loved ones. I'll see you soon.
If you like that video, there are loads more talks, classes and exclusive videos from the Happy Place Virtual Festival. So don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Do follow us on Instagram for constant updates, and enjoy.